Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting for January 22nd, 2019. Please stand for invocation, followed by Pledge of Allegiance, and our invocation will be led to us by Bobby.
Father God, we thank you for this day, God. We thank you how you continue to bless us and keep us. God, we thank you, God, for this community, and God, as we have our students from Jeffersonville High School with us tonight, we pray for the teachers, the principals, administration of Jeffersonville High School. We pray for those students there. We pray, God, that they continue to be what you would have them to be, God. We pray that they'll continue to be compassionate and to work together to help each other. And God, we pray also, Lord, for the furloughed and also shut down persons that are not working, and those who are working without pay. God, I can't even imagine. God, be with them and watch over them. God, we pray for our leaders to have compassion and understand that these people need to work and they need to be paid. They have families to take care of, God. But I know you will take care of them, give them what they need. We thank you for a community like Jeffersonville, where people are coming together to try to help in any way that they can. So, God, we ask you to be with this council, watch over them, be with them and their families, give them the wisdom they need to do what they need to do to protect and to manage our city. We pray for our first responders, Father God, that you continue to keep them protected and covered, God. We thank you for their service to our community. God, we ask it all in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bobby. Have a roll call, please.
Yes, Councilperson White. Present. Councilperson Yon.
Present.
Councilperson Maples.
Here.
Councilperson Hawkins.
Here.
Council Vice President Gill.
Here.
Councilperson Owen.
Here.
Councilperson Ellis.
Here.
Let the record reflect that 7 council members are present. Council President Zastovny and Councilperson Samuel are absent.
And Councilperson Samuel is on vacation. He's actually in Jamaica. I need minutes to be approved for our regular proceedings of January 7th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. I got approval of the agenda, and I'm going to request for an amendment, please. I'd like to, under new business, if we could flip 12 and 13 and go ahead and let the judge go before our appointments. He's got a busy schedule, so we can get him out of here, so we can go on with this night. If you all are in favor of that, I'll entertain a motion to amend the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to amend the agenda with moving under new business 13 under to 12 and 12 to 13. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, motion carries.
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the amended agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, that's this way. All for saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Claims to be approved. Civil City first.
Civil City claims tonight are $1,533,244.82.
I glanced through them, so I really don't have, it's all pretty much self-explanatory. Are they all in order?
Yes.
Okay.
If there are no questions, motion to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the Civil City claims of $1,533,244.82. Any further question or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Okay.
Parks.
Parks tonight are $73,999.54.
All claims in order?
Yes.
Motion to approve. Second.
I got a motion and a second to approve the Parks claim of $73,999.54. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed,
Thank you.
motion carries. Report of the clerk.
I don't really give it.
Okay, then we'll move on to unfinished business. We'll need a motion we need to table once again, what is it, 9 and 10? Yes. because they have to go to the Plan Commission, which is January 29th. So I have a motion to go ahead and table 9 and 10.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to table 9 and 10 under new business. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. So now we'll turn it over to Scott Hawkins. You have Adam Miller, the director of the Jeff High Band.
Sure.
We got a lot of attendance tonight.
Yeah. In December, Mr. Miller, if you want to come on up, Mr. Miller got with me about an idea that he had, which was celebrating, which I did not know, Jeffersonville High School Band is 90 years old, which in the length of bands in the state of Indiana is now, I understand, quite old. And I brought this up to you since it was at the end of last year, this request. We couldn't get contracts or anything prepared on last year's budget, so it had to be bumped to this year's budget. And I told Mr. Miller, I didn't try to explain at that time what we were going to be doing, what Jeffersonville High School Band was going to be doing, because I wouldn't do it justice. So I asked him to come and give us a brief, and he's provided for you. Everyone should have a little packet on their station, kind of going through kind of what is in this for Jeffersonville, what exactly it is that they're doing. So with that, I'll turn that over to Mr. Miller for him to give us a quick run-through.
Well, first of all, thank you for letting us come tonight and have our students here. I know meeting time is very precious, so just the fact that we have time tonight, we really appreciate that. I do want to, there's a lot of information in the packet. I'm obviously not going to read down all of it, but it's there for you to look at. I do want to emphasize, though, a little bit about who we are, our history, and why I think this project of collaboration is important. As you can see there on page 2, there's a lot of stuff that we do, and I put a lot of it in there, and there's a lot of, we've done this, and we've gotten this award, and all that kind of stuff. But I think what I'm most proud of as the director is our mission statement, which I've highlighted in red there. And that's directly related to what we want to try to do with this project. And what's interesting with that mission statement is that was 100% the students. We had some leadership clinics, and we asked them 2 questions, basically. Who do you think we are right now, and who do you want to be? And they came up with that mission statement there. Through our friendships, we create positivity. Through our passion, we can persevere, and through our excellence, we will inspire. And I think each one of those we try to live out every day, and I think this project exemplifies us trying to live out that mission statement. This being the 90th year, we knew we wanted to do something really, really special. Like I said, I kind of approached Scott about it because my first initial thought is, we do a marching band show every year. Like this past year was Everest was the theme. We do something that will work competitively. But I thought this year, what if we do something that works competitively, but in some way also reflects our history and the history of Jeffersonville? So the current, and it's a long design process that goes all the way through the fall. But our current idea is to start with a marching band show that actually reflects our history in Jeffersonville and the band's history when it comes from our history here on the waterfront of the river and everything involved in that, and growing the city through its people and even to what it is today and what it's growing into, which could be a really exciting field show for us to put on, and to make it personal and to make it really about the city of Jeffersonville. So if we go out for a competition, that judges will go, oh look, it's a town and it's a factory and they're building ships and it's a dockyard, stuff like that. So it'll be competitive for us. But when we're at our Friday night football games, that our fans in our town can see like directly related in the props that we have and things like that, that they go, oh, that's Jeffersonville, or that's a picture of that, and so we want to directly relate it to our history. And then if we gone through the process, something that we do in the marching band world is we actually, the music that we play for the show is written for that specific show. So one of the things that is in the list here under the collaboration is that we're thinking about commissioning a specific piece to do for the marching band show, but then also a portion of that could be then revamped into a concert band version or some other versions that it would actually could become like an unofficial anthem for Jeffersonville, or that's kind of a working title right now, to kind of give back a little bit. because I want to stress, there's all these things take money, and I know that's what we're talking about a little bit. But rather than just ask for a donation, I think it's important for our students to know that their skills and talents can be used in the community. And instead of asking for a donation, really what we're looking for is a partnership and a collaboration, because we think we can offer quite a bit to the city in a project like this. Part of that would be perhaps we get the composer to come in, work with the kids even, which would be a very rare opportunity, and to have maybe a performance or something downtown, maybe a Big Four Park or another location, maybe here at City Hall, where the band performs part of that composition. We have the composer here, and we could have the composer give a manuscript piece of paper, that has the score on it, that would be presented then to the city of Jeffersonville, which I think is a neat opportunity. On the next page, there's some other things that could go along with that when the composer's here. And I kind of think of this too as, it's an opportunity. We can make it a small thing or a big deal, but I could see it not just through a marching band show that's a very public thing, but an entire year of celebration. So training our kids through leadership clinics and a lot of the things that we already do, but kind of bolstering that and adding to that, and getting our kids out into the community to visit elementary schools, to visit places around, to do small group little performances. We already do a lot of that, but this would enable us to do a lot more. Having somebody through this whole project as well, I think it would be neat to document and archive as we go. So at the end, we could have a series of videos, pictures, content, some documents that we could then present to the city of Jeffersonville or the Clark County History Museum, those type of things, to preserve our 90th year celebration. I put a list there of different benefits that I see. I'm sure there are more than that. But again, I want to emphasize the idea of a partnership that we feel, a lot of times in band we're always asking for stuff because it takes a lot for what we do, but we feel we also have a lot to offer. Including the opportunity, you see all the kids that are here tonight at a government meeting that they wouldn't normally be at. So there's already one benefit right there. And if this, if this can be a collaboration between the city and our band program, I mean, these are the kids in our band program, and Scott can probably attest to this too, because I know he teaches AP classes and has a lot of our kids. But this is really the future of our city within our band program. We have some really strong leaders. We teach leadership, and music is almost a side benefit of everything that we do otherwise. So we definitely see a lot of benefits there. I'm going to skip over the description and vision. You can read that on your own. I did put some sample things in here for you, just a timeline there on page 5 of what it would actually physically look like throughout the year, of all the things that we could do at different times of the year, starting with right now all the way through next March or May. So we're talking about all the way through the end of the school year of 2020, a year from now. Of course, the marching band show being a part of that, but really trying to extend that out. Marching band is such a public thing, so that comes up a lot. But I could also see us doing the world premiere of the concert band version that's actually an official sit-down orchestrated piece at our spring concert, to which, of course, everybody would be invited and that type of thing. So it would go from fall all the way through spring. Talk about the commission a little bit. Another thing that I think would be wonderful is it's really hard. We're very hard to be mobile a lot of times, because the marching band, we're 120 students, and we have, if you ever drive by the school, you see 2 trailers and a semi. And even if we're coming down here to City Hall or Big Four Park or something, we got to bring all that. In addition to 4 buses, and that's actually quite a bit of money anytime we travel. It's thousands and thousands of dollars anytime we travel. So to actually bring our show to the people, so to speak, and to different parts of the community, I just put on there on page 6 some proposed locations that we could use. I don't think we could do all of them. And then some of them, if you notice, are also out of state, because I think this is something that, we travel. In years past, we've gone to Tennessee. We go to Ohio every year. We participate in what's called a mid-states competition, which is Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana. We perform in Lucas Oil Stadium. So it would be bringing the name of Jeffersonville and our band also to our whole entire region. So that's just kind of a list of all the different places that we would envision performing as being part of this. I mentioned the spring concert in that as well. And then the last page, page 7 there, of course it does take money to do what we do. And I did want to emphasize, this is not something that, boy, we hope maybe if we go to the city, maybe they can fund band for a year and we won't have to fundraise. That's not what we're asking for. So I put there on the top our yearly typical expenditures and how we divide things up very, very loosely in categories. But we spend around $74,000, $75,000 a year. That's what we have to fundraise on our own above what Greater Clark Schools does. So all the kids that are behind me, all the parents that are behind me, they're the ones raising that $74,000 a year to make that go. So what I'm talking about on the bottom, it would be in addition to that. And I'm kind of new to this, so I didn't know exactly. I was like, how much should we be asking for? So basically this is the dream scenario, and I kind of view it as a buffet. This would be amazing, and every bit of it we can do, and I think would be a positive thing for our program. But based on funds and things like that, we could only take part of what's on the buffet and scale it down if we need to. But rather than say, already start with the scaled down version, I thought, let's dream big and see what we could do with this. And so that would be the result down there at the bottom. And something I didn't put in here is we've already done a lot with the arts council, arts department. Am I saying the right thing? Yeah. And we've already done a lot of collaboration, even with some of our marching band shows and stuff with them. We play at Shakespeare at the Park every year with the jazz band. Last year we were rained out of it, but so we already do a lot of things like that. So coordination with the Parks Department, the Arts Council, I could see a lot of things that aren't even in here that through conversation would spark even more things that we could do as part of this. So I hope that gives you a little bit of an overview without me talking too long in our meeting time. So.
I know the city of Jeff, when I'm at any of the parades, get so excited when they know the Jeff High Band's even in the parade. And I know your students are so busy performing, you don't see it, but the look on the kids' faces and when the Jeff High Band comes down that street, it's amazing. I don't think you realize, I talked to a few of some of the kids and asked them what they played, that I'm just amazed by the talent of this band. And I get to hear it all the time because I live up there. I open up the windows and they're dedicated. They're practicing at like 8:30 on a Saturday morning, and I mean, they're really dedicated, and it takes a lot of discipline and a lot of passion. That I applaud you for what you do to these kids.
I think this year when we did the last parade, we did the winter parade. It was the first year we had a really nice crowd, so that was nice. It was the first year though, as we played the fight song, the whole crowd started clapping along, and that was a really neat experience to feel that as we went. So.
Well, I can tell you when Mr. Miller first came to me, my question to him was, what do we get? But we didn't even talk about an amount. My question was, what does the city get out of this? And much like when this council's one of our first actions was to go to Scotland, the theater, to go to Scotland. And you can mark that off to, it's marketing, it's getting the city out there to whatever degree you want to believe that to be true. In my mind, and I'm not really affiliated with the band other than Jeffersonville High School. I wasn't affiliated with theater other than Jeffersonville High School. I think we're getting much more for our money on this take than we were on our previous expenditure. Not only with our cities trying to move to push the arts more, which there's been a heavy emphasis on our part to do that, but then the idea of having the theme song and then having these little to be worked out, these mini performances at various places that we could kind of have a say in, I think we're getting much more bang for our buck before. So that's why after having that conversation with Mr. Miller, I said, well, I think we can see what happens and we can bring that to a meeting, because I don't see this as charity. I see this as this is a quid pro quo. I'm getting something and they're getting something, and I think it's worth both of our causes.
We're getting an anthem, so.
Yeah, and we need an anthem. I mean, how can we not have an anthem?
Right?
Well, and
I
I
do have a
want to
quick
emphasize
question.
too, I really think what we try to do with the band program when it comes to character and excellence and what we feature, I think it's a great thing to feature now in our history in Jeffersonville when so many people are looking at what's unique about here as opposed to somebody else or somewhere else I could choose to live. And so the more that we get out and do those things, I mean, we may not know the impact we actually have or not, but I think that's important.
I just have a quick question. You talked about a partnership, and it all sounds great. Have you all discussed who's going to be your contact? I know you've worked with the arts. You talked about with Paul. Have you discussed anything with our Parks Director or the?
No, we have not gone, because I don't know where this falls.
Okay.
It's kind of a,
This is because, to my knowledge, we've never done this before, so I don't know, maybe Les or Larry could chime in. Obviously, we're going to have
You want to play in the park?
yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are conversations that I just want to make sure happen.
Like with the theater, we worked with them through the Parks Department to have them do a performance at the River Stage and that sort of thing. So I'm sure we could do it a lot, the same way. There are certain events that the city already has on the calendar, and then there are some other opportunities for you guys to come to some of the other venues that the Parks Department has in order to facilitate some of those things. I think if we could just get...
correctly, then, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The total expense for the celebration was $28,500?
That's what I had proposed, but again, that's up to, it's with the partnership and collaboration,
That's in
we can
addition to
make it what it is.
their budget.
That will go a long way.
Letterman in band,
Okay,
and a tenor saxophonist.
yeah.
A saxophonist in the house?
I was alto in high school.
Also, all right. I'm happy to see this and entertain plenty to people have a weekend. And I made a comment on your Facebook invite.
Okay.
Is there going to be an opportunity for alumni to put a performance on?
It's something that we have talked about.
You don't want me performing.
This is my 4th year here, and a lot of people come up to me, and I kind of put it back on them sometimes, but I would love a thriving, good, strong alumni band association to make those things happen. One of the things that we do already is 4th of July parade. We say come one, come all, because kids are on vacation, things like that, so we have alumni come back at that. We would like to add a basketball event, like anybody who would like to come back and play, and school song hasn't changed much. It's like 1 + 1 is still 2, what we're looking for right now would be the people to head up or organize that on a logistical level, and then work with the directors to do that. But that's a great untapped resource we have right now that we would like to bolster.
Adam, I'm particularly interested in the leadership component of this. So you had mentioned your vision for these leadership clinics. Can you elaborate how you envision those?
One of the things we've done in the past, I know the name doesn't mean much to you, but the guy's name is Dr. Matthew Arau. He's a very top-notch band director in the country, and he's actually a clinician now that goes around and does leadership. His last name is Arau, and we already have done a few things with him. Very high profile, and he'll come in, like the mission statement was the first year that we had him come in. The mission statement resulted from that. And he'll come in and do a series of things where we'll work with the band, and then we actually have leadership audition process that he works with, and then he works with those that have been selected through that. And it's a lot about like what we do, what you see on the marching band field, a lot of that is taught through student leadership. We send students to say, okay, you're going to work on letter A to letter B in this music. Here's your saxophone section leader, and they're going and doing that. So just learning the show and teaching that in the process that we do every year, that component is already there. I think what this would add to it is connecting those skills then to the community and getting them out there more. So a student-led ensemble that was rehearsed by students then now goes out to an elementary school or to a park to play or to a meeting like this or things like that, so they can start to make those connections, which I think is really, really important. So we already do a lot, but again, this would be a way to even enhance that even more.
So what would we be looking for tonight? If this council decided to move forward and we come to an agreement on a fund, what do we need? what kind of a motion needs to be made? Les, this is for you.
No, it's actually for like.
I would say we would,
We just,
Last
usually we
Larry.
do the dollar amount where it's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, it's the motion.
Motion, we gotta go through the
Yes.
financial part of making it happen. You've got that funded, where could they take that out of?
Well, we were encumbering that money in.
Council projects.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty simple.
You did encumber that money in, right?
You start the process now, the money's there, correct?
Would it have to be additional appropriation?
I'm not sure how much was appropriated, so I don't remember.
I don't recall for the budget, you, strong.
I thought we had 50 in special
I'm
projects.
pretty
We
sure
had
it's
50,000, but we had leftover that we talked about encumbering it in. That's why he brought this up last year.
I don't know, I don't
But we
think we
didn't.
encumbered it.
We didn't do that.
We didn't encumber it because we didn't have it didn't have an invoice, right? Do I remember that correctly?
So we have,
I believe there is 50, but I can't remember.
There are very few things that come out of council projects.
whatever we decide.
So if they've already appropriated 50 here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we do, yeah.
Which is like another 70.
All right, well,
I think,
do we need to talk casually here first about an amount? I mean, to me, for special projects, that's exactly what this money is supposed to be for. We had it last year, as I explained, we just didn't have time to get our ducks in a row to make it for this year. I mean, I'd make a motion, I would be comfortable making a motion for the amount of 28.5, which is, I believe, the number at the bottom of the page that we referred to.
I would second that if it came out of gaming. I think we should have that,
Yeah.
we should have gaming funds, I think, did you say 75?
I feel like it's,
If we don't have it, we can appropriate it, I think. I know we have at least that much in
Yeah,
unappropriated.
With-
They're
yeah,
just-
that would be just as good. I mean, gaming, that's what
because,
that's for.
well, what comes into
Yeah,
the
that's not
council
fair.
special projects is actually, some of it comes from gaming,
Gaming,
correct?
right.
So it's really the same money.
I
I would
agree
rather
with,
see the money come out of somewhere that we already have an appropriate, that's already there, rather than us having to do a special appropriation. Let's take it out of the fund where we already have it, and then we don't have a problem with dealing with special appropriation.
Would that be gaming? I mean, that would satisfy what Ron's request.
I would have to check the budget on that.
As all the money in gaming doesn't
I think there's,
result in taxpayer money, I would prefer.
I can go back and
yeah, it's a
pretty sure that's.
special
So-
project. I thought we were doing 20,000, but since you're proposing the 28.5, I feel gaming because of,
So basically, what we're talking about is which pot of money we're going to take this
What a
out of.
problem
I think
to
you've got
have.
plenty of support. While she's checking, she's going to go and check and see if we can make this a short, sweet, get you a check rather quickly instead of take a month and a half to do an additional appropriation. But while she's doing that, I wanted to thank your students for coming out to our meeting and thank them for being dedicated to the band. It's 90 years of Jeff bands, and I was not a band student at Jeff High, but I had lots of friends who were band students, and I understand what all that entails and what it means to you as students, and I appreciate all of the parents who are here that support their students coming through such a program, because I know it is more than just learning a piece of music and going to a concert one Tuesday night in the spring. It's much more than that, and I just wanted to acknowledge that commitment both from your students and your students' parents. So, it's quite a program, as are a lot of our arts programs at Jeff High.
I want to add to that, when I was in band, we marched in the Cherry Blossom Parade in Washington, D.C., and also the Cotton Bowl Parade.
oh, wow.
Dallas. Great experiences that we all had.
Would it be a bad question to have on the public record to ask you when you were in band?
No, I graduated in '89.
Okay.
I think we went to D.C. my freshman year. I think that was '85.
Okay.
Maybe '87, '86. I think we went to the Cotton Bowl.
So some alumni that we have working with us are from that area. I don't know if you know Steve Zaneri or not. Yeah. Steve does so much for our band. Yeah.
Is he a drummer?
Yep. He's a drummer. Yep.
Before classrooms have a little drum session. I had the cowbell.
While we have a few minutes, you mentioned about the fundraisers, which I know I do, I buy the plants Mother's Day,
Yep.
they're gorgeous and everybody loves. Can you just mention throughout the year, your regular fundraisers?
Yeah,
Full council knows
So
when those are?
we try not to do the, hey, we're going to sell something fundraisers as much as we can. We do a few of those, like the flowers. We sell detergent. But those aren't our biggest ones. One of our biggest ones is just concessions at basketball games and football games. That brings in a lot. We do have a structure for band fees. So kids do pay to be a part of it. But we also have financial aid and things available for that as well. Sponsorships, donations, it's sort of in all of the above with the fundraising projects. We have Thursday night, we have a chili supper. That is one of our best events. So if anybody wants to cook chili or eat chili, you're welcome to come. But that brings in a lot. We have our jazz bands play. We have 2 jazz bands now at the high school. We used to not have any, so now we have 2 of those. Percussion play, so a lot of event-based things we try to do along with concessions, and rather than just the 2 or 3 things we do that are, hey, can you buy this from us, or, you know.
Well, not to throw anybody under the bus, but I know a certain council person has award-winning chili.
Oh, yeah.
that he-
Oh, okay. Okay. We were the
I will
person in
gladly
charge of it.
step away from that fight.
Was back then, yeah. So,
I'm a 1960 graduate of Jeff High School. Never played in the band. Back in those days, I had to work. But I always remember hearing the band at the high school games, and I was one of those that really liked to see the band come down the street whenever they have a parade. And I'm one that I can't chew chewing gum and walk straight, so I really envy these people that are able to play any type of instrument and march and everything.
one of the impetus for even thinking about that, or knowing that we have 90 years, because a lot of band programs don't know how old they are. There's a band director
Yeah, I'll take the 20 out
in
of
the
that. I'll take
60s that did his dissertation on the history of music education in Jeffersonville going back to the late 1800s. And we still have that dissertation. We have pictures for playing the dedication of I-65 when that was built, and shaking the hands of the people that were there. We actually have in a scrapbook the ribbon that was cut from that. And one of the projects we're working on with this is with the library. It's on hold right now because the government shut down, but she's putting us on our next grant cycle so that all of our archives will be digitized
No, it doesn't.
and then uploaded.
We have 2
separate funds.
special projects funds.
Yeah.
The state archive, history archive, so it'll be
Out of
all on
gaming.
there.
In special projects.
Right, right,
We're not pulling from the actual gaming fund itself.
right.
While they're figuring out where we're going to pay for this, I'd
Yeah.
like to echo Matt Owen's comments of how many people's in attendance.
Thank you.
I can't remember a council meeting that we had
All right.
this many people in attendance, and when they were, we wasn't always getting along up there.
That was
Yeah,
bad.
There'd be a little bit more debate back and forth, so thank you for coming out. It's nice to see a bunch of people in the seats.
Absolutely.
So do we not have a total for our
So
gaming fund
there's
itself?
20,000 appropriated
All right,
out of
so-
special projects
okay.
out of gaming.
Here,
Go ahead.
okay. Here we've already got appropriated, Heather, so you know, out of the gaming, the 20,000. So we'd like to use that 20,000 and take the 8,500 out of council special projects in the general fund.
That way we won't have to have
I know we're taking out 2 other funds, but that, you know how we had that invoice that came out, it would just be in January to take that. I just know some things coming down the pike, I just want to be safe than sorry.
So we just need that
I need
motion.
a motion.
Well, then, I would like to make the motion to take 20,000 out of gaming and 8,500 out of special projects to be worked through I guess we're going to operate this through parks for the Jeffersonville Band 90-year celebration project.
second.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Congratulations. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations and your
Have a good day.
Now about that anthem.
She will need,
Okay, we can do that.
Probably even just use an email.
I don't think
What
that'll get
contact, should I send something to Scott, or should I?
She'll-
We'll get your contact, okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Do we need are you all going to stick around, or you can, I'll give you all a minute to exit the room before I don't want to take, away from the judge talking, so I'll give you all a minute to clear the room. Thank you all. Bye-bye. So good.
If you're a student under the age of 17, you can register to vote in the primary. Please do. Do you
I don't
need
know if you
student
can
poll
say that.
workers?
Yeah.
Please.
Politics.
Just that's not politics, it's just civic engagement.
I'm letting them know that when you are 17, you can register to vote in the primary. That is on the clerk's website. General information. Poll workers are
Well, there were a few things on the clerk's website that I'm not sure was
including
county,
district lines?
the county clerk.
Including district lines?
Yeah.
We're wrong?
Well, it took me forever to update. Okay, at this time, we got Judge Adams. I met with him a couple weeks ago. He's got a lot of exciting things to coming across his busy schedule that he's working on, so I thought he would inform us as a group and let us know all the good things you're working on.
Well,
Welcome,
I
Judge.
appreciate you putting me on your agenda and skipping me ahead of the appointment. I had originally asked to be on the docket or on your agenda for later because I've been to 2 other meetings before this one since leaving the courthouse from a trial. So, a couple things I wanted to just inform the council. There's a couple projects I'm doing. One, I have started a Clark County Addiction Treatment and Support program, a problem-solving court within the judicial system, within our justice system here in Clark County for treatment, to get people treatment while they're incarcerated to help alleviate some of the jail overcrowding as well as some of the recidivism we see from repeat offenders. Going along with that is I had the opportunity with Clark County Cares to go and observe Huntington, West Virginia's program that they implemented about 4 years ago to, I believe in 2012 and 2013, Huntington was the #1 overdose capital in the United States. Ranging somewhere between 700 and almost 1,000 overdoses in a calendar year. Now, I don't try to scare anybody by any means. However, we are similar numbers in regards to that in reference to our percentages for EMS runs and overdoses. Huntington's a much larger metropolitan city, having about 90,000 people within just Huntington. And it primarily takes Calico County or Cascas County, almost the entire county. We run similar numbers here in Clark County of about 120,000 off the most recent census. I think I haven't looked at those numbers. But what I want to do and what I have this vision of doing is putting a program similar to what they've done in Huntington, where we take individuals on these overdoses and give them an opportunity for treatment. And I know some of you are in the law enforcement, some of you are in education, some of you have been around for half a century, as an adult for half a century. Does anybody have any idea how many EMS runs Jeffersonville City Fire Department makes for overdoses in a year?
Too many, yeah.
So in 2017, it was 174 for Jeff City. In 2018, up to October 30th, it was approximately 239. And that still had 2 months to go. So I get this argument that, hey, they're moving away from the opioids. They're going to methamphetamine, so it's reducing the number of overdoses. But the statistics don't show that. It shows that more people are getting involved with the opioids, even though other ones are tired of overdosing, moving on to a different drug, we're still getting that rise. And I don't think it's an opioid crisis as much as it's an addiction crisis across the board for numerous levels of drugs. And I'm gonna pick on Scotty, but they average probably 620, 630 inmates a month in the jail, or daily average.
That would be,
I mean, I saw those statistics somewhere, they sent that to me in my position,
it's
so I know
pushing
it's somewhere in
700
that range.
700 sometimes.
And I talked to Jeremy Mullen says 80% of all the cases are involving drugs. Stealing to buy drugs, selling drugs, using drugs. And if we look at all the resources we use to capture those individuals, to detain those individuals, and to prosecute those individuals, and then to later incarcerate those individuals, I mean, we're spending all this exorbitant amount of money where we know when the national average is like, for every dollar in treatments, it was like equal to $10 in incarceration. Huntington took a program where they had no treatment facilities. They had like a 30-bed halfway house. And in a matter of 5 years, have almost 1,600 people in active treatment in a facility. And we know, Matt, right, from when you respond to them on an overdose, do you take them anywhere?
To the ER.
And what does the ER do?
If-
Revolving door, makes them stable because they don't have insurance, walks them right back out.
And most of the time, they take the same patient later on.
Same day. Or been on call and had it next door, right? I mean, I had the Jeffersonville Fire first responders tell me that they went to the same residence 3 times, their grandmother, mother, and granddaughter.
Yep.
All in the same day.
Yep.
They
Same
all
house.
said, hey, that's more drugs for me when they had an overdose. So, I've put together, I'm still working in the early stages, a Southern Indiana Life Improvement Project, where, 2 things, I'm not here to ask for money yet. All right?
We gave it all away.
I'm not even here to ask for support. What's that?
We gave it all away.
I just love it. I love it. I'm like, man, it's not easy. But it's not Jeffersonville's problem. It's not Charles County's problem where I'm from. It's not Clark County's problem. It's Southern Indiana's problem.
Right.
You know, I talked to a council person in Floyd County. They said, we don't have the drug problem in Floyd County.
That's
What?
not true.
That's the most ignorant, I can say stupid, ignorant response you can ever get. It doesn't stop at the county line.
It's like not in my backyard, you know?
Right.
And that's one of the things, you know, Larry just mentioned that we got a new treatment center, Ridgewood or whatever up there in Henryville. But let's be realistic, that's an insurance-based treatment center.
Right.
If you picked an addict up off the street right here on downtown Jeff, they're not gonna take him or her, you know, because they're in it for money. They're in it for treatment for people that have insurance to cover it. And the largest majority of these overdose runs are in places and locations that these people don't have insurance. I mean, and we have to be able to provide them something. We have to be able to, as a community, get together and get a center, get a treatment place where if in fact somebody, a police officer, you know, I read a report yesterday on the probable causes from the weekend. He was arrested for shoplifting, told the officer that I've got a syringe in my shoe because I was going to go take that stuff, sell it, and buy me some drugs. Is there a way you cannot go to jail and go get help? It says it in the police report. He said, no, you got to go to jail. We might have that guy in jail for 60 to 90 days, you know, because he can't post a bond, or he's on probation already, and he's going to get a petition to revoke. We have to have some type of options as an alternative to just arrest and incarceration. Believe me, I don't want people running around using drugs, selling drugs, stealing for drugs by any means. But if 80% of our criminal docket or criminal incarceration is due to drug-related addiction, don't you think we ought to try to fix that drug-related addiction to prevent that? We might not see it for a decade, or 5 years, 10 years, but we might see those people not reoffend. We know the national average for people that receive treatment, they're 85% more than likely not to reoffend. Ones without treatment, it's the opposite. 85% are likely to reoffend. we could take those numbers and implement those in Southern Indiana, it would be beneficial. I mean, I've talked to workforce people, they can't find the workforce, they can't find good candidates, they can't find candidates that pass the drug screen.
Yeah, I was just in a client of mine, and they said half of their new hires failed the drug test.
Oh, wow.
And it's an epidemic.
Yeah.
And it's one that we have to do something with. So, without asking for money, and just some other numbers, I think the jail processed 7,100 people booked in last year. That's like 700 a month.
You could have asked me this before the meeting. I could have.
I know that because I get the yearly report,
Yeah.
and I had it out. This is not the first place I spoke to in the last week and a half. And I'm picking on
So
Scotty.
you had even
Scotty
more opportunity to ask me.
Scotty ran in his career, did everything he could to put people in jail, right? And now we're looking at options to try to get people out of jail. And my option is that we need to get treatment. So I've gone to the Clark County commissioners as well as the council. I'm set to get a fund number I received a partial grant, and because this is just an idea that the Indiana Court Services gave me money just on an idea, that I could get a coordinator for half a year. I could pay for a coordinator for half a year to start putting stakeholders like yourselves with other communities to get together so that we could fund probably a coordinator and maybe a director. And when I say our communities, it's our town councils, our city councils, our county councils, our faith-based community out there. It's our stakeholders at the hospital. I don't think they should fund someone just because it costs them almost $1,100 every time a drug addict goes in there. If they stay longer than 2 days, it's almost $10,000 because they're in some type of active detox and they got to have round the clock care someone on one for every 10. But there's so much money we waste. In West Virginia, they talked about $100 million wasted on responding to overdoses as well as giving medical treatment. We have to be somewhere close to that. I mean, I'm not saying $100 million, but it has to be 20. If we're doing a third of their run, it has to be somewhere. I mean, I don't know what a fire runs. I'm just talking numbers for the fire departments.
Right.
I don't have the numbers for New Chapel as well as Yellow EMS. So, I mean, it has to be a lot.
And Judge, even your numbers for the fire department may not be all inclusive. If someone calls 911 because they found their dad not breathing, that run goes into the computer system and shows as a person not breathing. It doesn't show that he's not breathing because of an overdose.
Well,
we have to go back and manually change those.
Somebody did that for us,
That's
specifically for overdoses, and that was on their response.
right.
When they got there, they responded, and they changed the coding that it was not just
Right.
unresponsive, but it was, because the unresponsive is, I got it on my phone, but
Right.
but it's like 3,000.
Right. But
It's crazy.
So you've got to have those responders, call back into the 911 center and make sure that they change that code in the reporting software so that it shows the correct statistics.
Right.
And if you're
Some
tied
people
up,
back and did it by hand.
Right.
That's
Right.
what I was told. I didn't do it.
Right.
Brad Jones didn't do it.
I understand.
He said, don't claim that I did that because I didn't do it. He's the one that got me with the
But
sisters
yeah.
from 911 dispatch gave me those numbers.
Right.
So the program that I envision, so the last part of this is the program I envision is a 3-phase. It's education. It's educating our youth, better educating our youth. I mean, most of these kids know more about drugs by the age of 10 or 11 than I knew at age 25 probably. Educating our youth, educating our community, because it's not a stigma anymore. I don't know if anybody can raise their hand in here that don't know somebody that's had a drug overdose or a substance abuse issue in somebody's family or their neighbor's family. I mean, it's so. I was speaking last year, and they said, well, those people. Well, I've got 3 police officers and 2 jet firemen. I don't know how they live in my neighborhood, but they make a good money. It's a joke. But I've had 3 overdoses in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
Knows
it's
no
not,
bounds.
it's everybody's community. It's everybody's. But the other part is we need a treatment. We need treatment centers. The vision that I have is off the healing place over in Louisville. If I let somebody out today to send them to treatment out of the jail, healing place won't take them. They're reserving their beds for Louisville people. And that's one of the only places in Louisville that will take indigent people. I tell them, hey, you just moved over to Kentucky. You go over there, ask where you live at, you tell them First and Broadway. You know, and that's being deceptive, but if they really need treatment, that's what they got to do to get in. And then they'll hold them, and then they'll verify it. It's a lot of red tape to try to get people. We got this big metropolis across the river, but we don't see any of the benefit of their treatment providers because they won't take Indiana insurance if we got Medicaid.
Yep.
They won't take it. We've got to do something in this southern Indiana region, and I'm not saying, hey, Jeffersonville and Clark County. It's got to be Harrison, Floyd, Clark, Jefferson, Scott, Washington, Orange. Orange is going to be the next Scott County. I'm going to tell you right now, I've talked to 2 or 3 people that said it's an outbreak, and they don't know what to do.
Orange is the new Scott? Is that what I hear? Said Orange is the new Scott? Is that what you
Yeah, no, Orange is the new black. Orange is the new Scott. 3 times I've been in 3 different programmings, and that's what they said. You know, and again, representative from Floyd Council, we don't have a problem over here. Yeah, you do. You know, they're not skipping here. They're not driving around Floyd County to get to Clark County.
Exactly.
I have kids clients, so I know them.
Yeah. So, and then the third part of it is the law enforcement. You know, it took me, and I started this drug court, problem-solving court, it took me almost 2 years to get Jeremy Mull on board to let me get them treatment, you know, and we'll see what we can do with them. And that's the only thing. They've got to go to treatment, inpatient treatment, and if they don't comply, they got to go to jail. That's the agreements we have to do. And Jeremy's an advocate for recovery, but he's tired. He's getting the same thing from the police officer. We're tired of the revolving door downstairs. We're tired of taking them to the jail and walking right back out. Well, hell, we can't keep them, right? I mean, if you got 7,100 people entering the jail a year, you can only house 620, which is over capacity.
It might be the same 620.
Ah!
It's a skewed number there. Good try, though.
Yeah. But is it the same 620? Because we got to let all those other ones
I
out.
know, I'm pretty good.
Yeah? So, I mean, so it's a problem that we laugh because of the 620, almost all of them are probably drug-related cases. You know, we got the Allison shooter up there, Allison Lane shooter, stealing for drugs, right? Lived at half a block. Allegedly, he's innocent until proven guilty. But, you know, after he confessed. Half a block, you know. Those are real-life situations we got. I mean, those are real-life things we have. But the law enforcement part is, if I was a law enforcement officer and they said, I would really like you to drive me to treatment, I would rather pay 32 cents that it might take them, or $1, $2 for that 5 miles to take them to a treatment thing and let them go. And then say, I'm going to turn this into the prosecutor, but I'm going to note that I took you to treatment. Maybe that guy comes back and says, hey, I'm in treatment, I'm doing well. The West Virginia program had a quick response team set up. It was an EMS worker. It had someone from a treatment facility, Life Springs, Wellstone type facility,
Faith
and
community.
someone from the faith community, and they responded within 48 hours of an overdose. Law enforcement or EMS would leave them with information and say, someone from this team is going to come back and talk to you. They're not going to arrest you. They're not going to search you. They're going to talk to you about recovery, getting into recovery. And Councilman Gill was with us. We saw it in action in West Virginia.
It works.
We were in a training with the quick response team, and they go, we got a call. We've got to go. 2 hours later, we're touring the treatment facility, and there they are, bringing the guy into the recovery program.
Yep.
Those are things we've got to look out of the box and move forward as a community. Now, I'm not asking for any money now, But eventually, I'm gonna come back and ask that you put some money on your budget for next year to fund someone, to help assist fund someone that could coordinate this. I'm not really supposed to be doing this, that's my judge's position, and I've had those discussions with the Office of Court Services in Indianapolis. They said, you can start this, you can push it forward, but at some point, I've got to take my hands off of it because these people are gonna be involved in my court system. And I can't do it all, but we've got to get somebody, get the ball rolling to get somebody involved. And Conlon volunteered a lot of her time in regards to doing some of this, and I think she's going to do it in the future. She's got a passion for almost all the substance abuse. Some of them have mental health issues, and those are things we have to address. They've got to get some services.
Well, and the judge and I, we work together through Clark County Cares, and we keep in contact. So throughout the year, we'll work with him and keep up with the progress, and with Heather, and I'll keep you all, if he ever comes with some numbers, because we can't just take a pie out of the sky.
Right,
But I'll keep the council informed every step of the way.
I think I added up, and Vicki's going to look at some communities. I think I counted 71 town boards or councils. Obviously, they're not all going to give the same amount of money because they have different budgetary amounts that they can appropriate. But think about that. If
It's a lot of grants, too.
yeah, and we need, that's what,
The Indiana-
we're going to need a federal grant.
The Indiana
We're gonna need
Juvenile.
someone to do that federal grant.
And we learned when traveling to West Virginia that a lot of the grants that they got is because they had a united front, they had all the partnerships, they had everybody in place, and that really moved their grants along and got in line for other grants, so
And not
It
to
has a
say
good
this, but
system.
they just appropriated a bunch of money to the state of Indiana. And we could be at the forefront of doing that in our community. And again, it's not a Jeffersonville City problem, it's our whole community. And the other part of that is when we find a facility, because we're going to have to put it somewhere. Realistically, we're going to have to put it in Jeff, Clarksville, or New Albany. It's going to have to be somewhere where there's public transportation. And as Callie said, we don't want it in our backyard, but it's got to go somewhere. Sometimes we got to look at one neighborhood being disgruntled for the betterment of our whole entire community. I mean, it's something that's going to happen. Somebody's going to have to say, hey, and I was at a council meeting, and they said, that's for board and zoning, but it's not for board and zoning. It's for the community. Somebody's going to have to say, we support a treatment center. For those individuals that come and are against it, I'm sorry, but that's the best. We've looked at all these other facilities, that's the best facility. And more than likely, it's going to have to be at a school, a retired school. They got the space, the meeting rooms, the bathrooms, the kitchen, things like that. If you want to put people in a facility, they've got to have all of those things. No one can go out and build a school for a treatment center, right? It would be outrageous cost. But we got all of these schools that are being used or being abandoned across southern Indiana that we could utilize one of them. Refurbish it with a federal grant, but you got to have all of those things in place. You got to have a plan. And that's what I'm trying to put together. So that's what I just wanted to come by and say hi, tell you that we're doing this.
Scotty's got to tell you hi after the meeting.
Yeah.
I had one question.
Yeah.
So you'll know, in 2017, Huntington's population was 47,079. Jeffersonville's population was 47,383, so 304 more in Jeffersonville.
Scotty had a comment.
Go ahead.
Go on, good.
Mine was more personal in nature. After this, do you miss being a criminal defense attorney?
Huh?
Do you miss being a criminal defense attorney?
You know I do.
I can tell.
You know, I was in yeah.
I saw it come out,
I'm in
and
trial this
I haven't
week.
seen that in a while
Yeah.
from you, so.
Yeah, I'm in trial this week, and if I was a prosecutor, everybody would be convicted. I mean, we wouldn't have trials because...
I see the big grin on Larry's face.
He's
He's like, uh-huh.
He knows.
Larry, did that?
I wouldn't say that everybody that should be charged would get charged.
No. And this is what I say is I'm passionate about this, and I'm not one to stand behind a podium. I'm just makes me uncomfortable. I can't keep my hands down, and I just
You're fine. As
So-
long as I can hear you for the minutes, you're fine.
I'm very passionate about this, and I've never had any personal loss in my family. My uncle died of alcoholism in his hotel, in his hospital bed with a fifth of Jack Daniels under the cover when, he was a lifelong alcoholic. My grandfather was an alcoholic, but they didn't necessarily die. My uncle died of some infection that he got, probably because he was an alcoholic and didn't bathe properly, but he got a bad staph infection and died. But the scenario was, I get tired of seeing the same people, and on my criminal cases, I don't have anywhere to send them. I don't have anywhere to send them unless I'm sending them to a program that I created or the Department of Corrections. And they're not criminals where they're tested positive for drugs 2 or 3 times. There's got to be other options.
Judge, can you remind me of the number of ODs that Huntington, West Virginia had in?
I will.
You said it was like 1,000.
I will send you their strategic plan, and that's exactly what I'm doing, is copying their strategic plan. I'm waiting on numbers from the health department, Clark Memorial Hospital, as well as Life Springs. Because when I say these EMS runs, those don't reflect the Narcan that's distributed through Life Springs that may not have an EMS run.
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking,
exactly.
Their child or their husband or their significant
Judge,
other.
if you don't mind, send that to the clerk, and she'll make sure full council gets that.
I'm
But
just thinking
you
about
gotta
the
send her-
estimating, I'm a numbers person, right? So estimating the potential impact to our community. The number that I thought I heard was something like 1,200 ODs in Huntington, which is, we're at 1/4 of that just looking at EMS runs for
Right. So they
4/5 of the
documented,
year.
I think it was just under 1,000 in the final year that they did it, and then it was the year before it was like 700, and then the year before that it was like 400. But since they started this program, they still have a high number. It's in the 400s or 500s, but they got almost a 20% rate of people going into treatment off of the quick response team going back. So that's amazing. I mean, you can't save them all, but you could save a lot, and it would reduce the cost. This isn't a 100% fix. I mean, you go fishing, you catch, like me, you catch 1 out of 10 to take your worm. But the scenarios, we can save 10 or save that 10%. Even those numbers are going to be astronomical.
I was like,
I read something where a couple years ago out in Seattle and Washington State, these were doing what you're talking about. Instead of taking them to jail, they were taking them to
Yeah, there's a program called LEAD, I think, where the police departments have taken that role of, hey, we can forward this information, but if you go into treatment and come back and show verification that you're in treatment, engaged in treatment, then they may withhold that prosecution. Now, the prosecutor doesn't want that to be outspoken of, hey, we're going to give drug users a free pass. Obviously, the publicity, but if it's involved, wrapped around a bigger project, a bigger plan, I think it makes sense. Then why wouldn't he want to be on board to have him not arrested again 2 or 3 times in a year? And it's one of those things. It's got to be all encompassing. We got to get the stakeholders together.
well, I know you're talking about how it affects the jail, but I was just had a conversation because I worked with Life Springs, and I was talking with Beth Keeney and Silva, and not only that, the homelessness.
Yeah.
The majority of the is because of addiction.
It is, and with dealing with Life Springs, I met with Beth Keeney just last week, and she was going to give me some numbers too in their Narcan program, because they just got funding for a program where if they go to the hospital, they're triaged, then they're given 3 days of Suboxone as medically assisted, but then they're supposed to follow up within that 72 hours. What are they going to follow up with, without him? That's what I told Beth. I said, what are they going to follow up with if they don't have insurance? Are you going to come back? Are they going to be able to come back to you and get an additional 3 days or a week or supply?
Suboxone's brand only. There's not a generic.
Right. So, I mean, there's going to be, but that's a grant they've gotten, and it's going to be a great thing, a tool, but
What does that lead to?
after 3 days, what are we doing? They're back to the same environment. We've got to get this different stuff.
Judge, is anybody, and I don't know if this is Clark County Cares or any other organization or the court, is there anybody out there that is doing some sort of quantitative putting a number on what it's costing the region, the addiction problem.
But again, I'm limited because
Is there-
I have a full-time job.
No, I
Well-
understand.
They frown on me not being here.
But
We
is-
we are in Clark County Cares too.
Yeah, this isn't a Clark County, and this is one of the things, this isn't a Clark County Cares project
Right.
because they're
They're
in support of
volunteers.
it. They're
Yeah.
volunteers and they're in support of it.
Right.
Someone's got to stand up and say, we need this, someone's got to come to these things, and I'm doing it, so.
And I-
but
And I know Dr. Yates was complaining.
we're trying to get that, but Clark Memorial Hospital's unsure, how their coding is.
Right.
And what
And that's
what
a
that
huge
will
problem.
cost.
Right.
So Dr. Gazel's trying to get me to sit down with somebody in the ER division to get those numbers, to see what the cost associated with it is.
But if there was a way to put some sort of number on it, to quantify it in some, I don't know how you go about doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
if-
know what it costs for a run, you know what I mean?
Right.
But very rarely do you all do a run, the fire department do a run, and the EMS doesn't show up, because then they're transporting them, right?
Right,
The fire truck doesn't transport them on those runs.
right,
Right, because, so you've got two entities coming for one overdose
Right.
all the time. So it fluctuates. But those are private companies, so we should be able to get some of that information.
but
Well,
if there was somebody or some entity that were to take that on and put that study together to have that data to show the Floyd County official you spoke with, hey, this is a regional cost and this is Floyd County's share of it, or this is a regional cost and this is what we're putting out year over year with this problem. I mean, if it was a matter of having money to put a firm on that task, I think that, I would be supportive of us giving you something to get that ball rolling so that you can go to these other community stakeholders and say, hey, this is,
That's
costing
why we
us.
utilize this coordinator that comes in here first. I've talked to somebody, a professor over at IUS, to see if I can get somebody with statistics, to do all the plotting and the jotting,
Right.
And if we can do that, and then the other person would be sort of that contact person to follow up on a lot of this information, and put it all together, to bundle it together, so we can implement that strategic plan. And I'm saying this could be years away, because I'm looking for next year. I'm being an optimist and say I'd like to have federal funding in place July 1st next year, because it's going to take a grant writer to put all of that together. But also, you got to have a location. We've got to start working towards finding a location for a center. And I hate to say this, we're going to do one for men first, because it's like 5 to 1, men addicts to women addicts. And I hate that, but we're going to need one for women too. But we've got to start somewhere. We could put more towards men at this time, because that's the higher
need.
number that we're seeing.
Well, Judge, I think it's clear that you've done your homework and that you're passionate about this project, and I'm grateful that you have done all of this work to move this forward, because you have a passion for it and you see this every day. We feel it every day, we see it, and I know you see it at a very personal level. So thank you. I look forward to seeing what the next steps are and kind of how these 3 phases might work as some other things get solidified. So,
I think somebody else, Stingle, what's her first name?
Keely.
She's head of the homeless coalition. Jeff, they're down on Walnut Street, I believe. That might be somebody good to look into this. Invite back.
They're actually, this week, they're doing their 8-county count of the homeless population. So they're currently gathering data this week about scope of homelessness. And
So I think if you
Give her information.
yeah.
And what you didn't include was the cost of the defense.
Oh, yeah.
Because you
Because
have
the defender, man, you ain't real attorneys.
not only do you have an increase in the public defenders for the courts to deal with drugs, but you also have an increase in public defenders for the kids, because they have the kids taken away. That's in part in Floyd County.
Good point.
No, I've had clients that have had cases pending in Scott, Floyd, Harrison, and Clark County all at the same time.
Well, and also Keely is a Washington County councilwoman, so she would be a good
not joking about public defenders, I get that all the time, I'm a real attorney, and the public defenders outside of Mr. Wilder might be the hardest working people, that we see.
The funny part is that private fires, the public defenders will hire another public defender to support.
Yeah, because he's like, hey,
The city has, some of the city, also used as a
Oh, that's right.
probably so.
Yeah.
part of the damage plan is like the state.
Was your board?
Where does that come from?
Judge, has
Well-
anyone thought about the cost to the businesses?
Yeah.
That, you've got the shoplifters, the burglars, and the robbers that
A
are
friend of mine
taking...
ran the Walmart in Clarksville, and he said he lost $1 million in merchandise every year.
The Rite Aid
$1 million.
before it went
They
out,
need to be part of this solution also.
Walgreens is not 24 hours anymore, it's spring and
the Rite Aid that went out, that's on Holman's Lane and 10th Street, in 1 month alone, $170,000 they lost in shoplifting. They caught some, but it was all drug related, getting money for their drugs. I said, that is a huge hit from, and then now, of course, that's not why they shut down, they got bought out, but I was just amazed by that loss that they took in a 1 month period of time. That's a
So-
lot of things that was,
So to round this up, and I know it takes longer than the 10 or 15 minutes I had proposed when I first came, is at some point I'm going to be back here asking for your support, and it's going to take not just saying, hey, we want to stand in the background. Somebody, and as community leaders, someone's going to look at you and say, what are you doing? I'm sure you've been asked that. What are we doing about this problem? What are we doing? And they ask me, and I say, well, I'm sending them to prison. I mean, that's what my job is. If they can't comply with their terms, I've got to send them to prison. And it's not an uncommon joke in my court. Somebody comes in and asks me they want treatment. I'm sending them to the Department of Corrections for the treatment while incarcerated, which is a year-long program because it's one of the better programs.
one thing is, you recall too, this council has funded all the programs that are going on this week with Clark County Cares. Every day and evening they have something going on.
Business owners are coming tomorrow, I think, at Winter Spring. Different business leaders to talk about the problem that they can't find work and talk about the issues that they have, how to get people clean.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. I wanted you to inform the council so they're well aware of everything's going on, and we'll keep them abreast of the whole situation. I look forward to continue working with you.
And if you all just wanted to fund a spot somewhere out there in your budget for somebody who could do this, it would be great.
Okay.
No, it's one of those things I just want to get it out there that we can do it, and we're leaps and bounds ahead of where West Virginia started, because we have them as a tool and a resource and a strategic plan. That we're way behind in what we should have been done years ago. And that's not pointing a finger at anybody. I've been stumbling over it, and I got last minute got asked to go to West Virginia, so that was the iceberg opening up the sea.
Yep.
So,
Have you had a chance to speak with Mayor about this?
now he's out until the 23rd.
Yeah,
So,
he's
I
gonna
called
make an
him-
appointment
I called
with
him
him.
the same day.
Yeah.
I called and set this up. So,
Yeah.
all right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy yourself.
All right.
I appreciate you taking care of me this
Okay.
evening and listening to me.
You're very compelling conversationalist.
Okay. We're going to move on now to our board appointments, and we did have in our packet the list. So I'm just going to go right on down to get this efficient and keep it easier for Vicki. Huh? Oh, I thought you were talking to me. We're doing board appointments right now.
Not yet.
I got distracted by the jet.
Okay.
You just want to stretch your legs, I get it.
Okay, first is we have the building authority, and I believe that the clerk did talk with the building, and they all three want to continue on, so,
I just received a message from Brandon Westfield, said he would continue, but he would prefer if somebody else had somebody that wanted to be on that board, he is now on third shift, and the 9 a.m. board meetings are, I guess, a little rough. I know it's late in the game to mention that.
well, we can leave that open, and then give it till next council meeting, because we're leaving arts to next council meeting, because it's talked, so we'll be glad to
He
do
says
that.
he can make the next couple meetings because of his off days, but if somebody has, I put Brandon on there because he built houses, so, and I think he has saved some money but I think he was ready to come on.
Well, we can go ahead and,
This form, 2019.
That is, only thing, what I did is, I just put that on there when they came, the building commissioner came in and said that they, those three, so I put 19 in there just so I would know that for appointment.
They were good.
Because it's yearly, yeah.
so
Well,
you,
they did expire on the 31st.
yes.
Last year.
Yeah, they all expire.
Now, we know we need to do it one at a time. Do I have a motion for Don Spertzel?
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion for Bill Fry?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Move on to insurance.
Can I ask a real quick question? Councilperson Maple, do you think we ought to go ahead and then if he does want to come off,
He can,
because they do have a meeting, I
Resign.
think, coming up.
Yeah, because he
Okay.
technically wasn't.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Brandon Westerfield.
Second.
We got a motion and a second for Brandon Westerfield. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We have insurance committee, which says Estani and myself. Is there anybody else wish to serve?
Motion for Ed Z.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Motion.
Motion carries.
Motion for Lisa Gill.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Councilperson Owen still wishes to,
Unless somebody
Continue
wants to
Parks
take their
Authority?
place.
so I'll take a motion.
Motion for Matt Owen.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Got a motion and a second.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Now, for Plan Commission is myself, Ed, and Dustin. Ed did relay to me that he would like to come off that since he's on Parks. Is there anybody else that wish to?
Nathan Samuel sounds good.
That wasn't a motion.
Huh?
Oh, that wasn't a motion?
Yeah, I know.
It does
I
have
already
to be-
asked Nathan and he said
it
no.
does have to
I
be
asked
3 council
Ron,
members,
did you
is that correct?
consider?
Unfortunately, I have considered, and it's a hard, it's a hard choice for me because of the other boards and things that I sit on. I guess I would take that position, so that,
Motion for Ron Ellis.
As long as you don't feel too
Second.
pressured, Ron, I don't want to.
Got a
Well-
motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
I think
Sorry,
Ron's okay
Ron.
standing up to pressure.
if you
I
have,
think he's okay.
Sorry,
sat on
Ron.
the plan commission before?
Yeah.
I've-
You don't
I've
want me on
done
the
this
plan
before.
commission, I just approve everything.
Motion for
Be like,
Lisa Gill.
"Ron."
No,
Second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Motion for Dustin White.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We're going to do public arts next week, next meeting, so redevelopment. Take a motion.
Make a motion for Scott Hawkins.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Motion for Matt Owen.
Second.
Got a motion and 2 seconds for Matt Owen. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Move down, we have Charlie Smith, District 3. Do you have your motion for your Drainage Board appointment?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, let's continue to serve, so. He would have let me know if he didn't.
Okay. Got a motion and a second for Charlie Smith for District 3. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. For District 5, I'd like to reappoint. I did talk to him. He's willing to serve. He's doing a great job, so I'm going to reappoint John Kettenbrink.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. District 6.
Yeah, I'd like to repoint Art Gipp. I actually heard him say a phrase I never thought I'd hear anyone say. I love the Drainage Board.
Second.
Good deal. Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. District 1.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Quick question, Lisa, since
Yes.
I know you follow that board. Have they had their elections for this year?
Yes, they did.
Who is the new, is there a new president? or
Charlie is, and Seville is vice.
Okay, well, then I assume that definitely Charlie
Who wants to stick around?
Just was making sure. I wondered if
They were well aware that we did not do our appointments, but they wanted to make sure that they had that election
That's
because of
good.
the issues we had last.
Good.
Okay. Now, Larry, we have our attorney comment.
Finance committee.
We got the
Whoa, whoa,
Wait
whoa.
a minute, you got second page.
Oh, I got
The
a second
phone.
page? Oh, well, darn, here.
Sorry, Larry.
Sorry.
Great.
That is my
Did it already
fault.
take over for you, or?
Well, the finance committee's we are done because that's done by the,
No, Dave Stinson.
where's
He was
Dave?
appointed to the zoning board. I never got his appointment back, and his appointment date is up, so he needs to be reappointed.
And
Is,
Okay, it wasn't highlighted, so I didn't know.
is Roger Clark also still on BZA?
Yes.
He's just not listed here. I thought he
No,
was.
that's a mayoral appointment.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not all of you. Okay.
also,
Yeah, he's on and he attends the meetings.
Yeah,
He's doing a good
yeah.
job.
here it's got you as the Clark County 911.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I make a motion for Lisa Gill to be Clark County 911.
Second.
got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed,
Good luck.
the motion carries.
I try.
You're going to have to meet with me and
And you have
And then, reappointment for the BCA.
Motion to approve Dave Stinson for the
Second.
BZA.
got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed,
Lisa, the last one, what about even though we don't do this, the Clark County Solid Waste, since Ed didn't want to sit on it?
oh, yes, we go
Make a
ahead.
motion for Lisa Gill for Clark County Solid Waste.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Thank
Do
you.
we-
I didn't realize that second.
Do we still have an open mayoral board member for BZA? Are we still short
I
one
have
person?
no idea.
I don't know.
I know we were short two, and we had, okay, just.
Larry, now you're up, I promise.
And we're not doing finance?
That was my mess up, I'm sorry.
Hurry up, the water's about to burn.
Do we, I'm
I'm
sorry
trying to hurry.
like beat a dead
Good
horse
luck
here,
with it.
but did we need to do the finance, or are we cutting that? We didn't
Well,
do
we
that.
can go ahead and do that usually.
I Rather
we can
than
go
like
ahead and-
us realize we forgot to do it later and then have
Okay.
to I just wanted to,
Ron, can you just do all four at once?
Last year,
Huh?
it was always full council, so.
Yeah,
Great
well,
way
we
to
can
do
go ahead and do it to be safe. and then we-
President,
Huh?
finance committee, another point about
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
don't
why I
you
was just
appoint
gonna,
them anyway?
oh,
Don't worry about it.
I
Let's
just
just
didn't want
wait,
to
'cause
skip
we-
anything.
we'll just wait if we need to.
All right.
Ed, okay. All right, Larry.
All right, here we go. So I was contacted by the president and the vice president to discuss what disannexation is. And in fact, there was a disannexation that occurred on the 9th day of January 2019 where the city, and I'm going to say de-annexed just because this sounds weird to say de-annexed 100 acres, thereabouts, of property that was then given by the redevelopment authority to the town of Utica in order to provide the town of Utica with a place for the police station and some other developments. With all of that said, that's what precipitated the question. And the question was, how does that work and what is it? So you will understand and know, this is as absolutely as backwards as anything that you will ever understand and know about government. To annex, it requires the city council to adopt a fiscal plan and go through all of these hoops and scoops and hoops, and then if 51% of the people, 51% file a remonstrance to say they don't want to become part of the city, you go to court, you have a trial, you got proof, then you win. If you win, the city is now annexed. So that process requires the city council, if you file a time, we won that appeal. We won that case. So that's the process of annexation, which the city council is an integral part. The mayor cannot, executive cannot just annex. De-annexation or disannexation is a process that actually 51% of the people that live in a particular area that's a part of the city of Jeffersonville are an owner of a large block of property, which is the River Ridge owned a large 100-acre block of property, they petitioned the city to disannex this 100 acres. Upon disannexation, it would become something that the town of Utica could then receive, and it would be a part of the town of Utica. And Les and I both kind of talked about the statute because it's really interesting because there are certain requirements, so I'm going to assume, and I'm sure Les will tell me if I'm assuming incorrectly, that all of the prerequisites for disannexation occurred. The petition was correct. The petition would have been from the RRDA, River Ridge Development Authority. Then the notice went out to the contiguous landowners that are entitled to notice. If none of those people petitioned to complain about the de-annexation that was about to take place of that property, and then the Board of Public Works conducted a hearing, and they had the right to subpoena witnesses, punish anybody for contempt that didn't show up for the hearing, and then make a determination as to whether or not this disannexation petition should be granted. And it was granted by January 9th, and that property then became no longer the city of Jeffersonville's, and it is my understanding and belief that Vicky's involved in that clerk certification. At 10 days after, as 10 days passed since the hearing, to where the clerk certifies that the county auditor that that's no longer Jeffersonville.
I don't do that.
That's
Well, it's news to me.
well, it doesn't matter.
No, I mean, I don't mind doing it, but
All
I'm
right.
gonna tell you, nobody is,
But I'm just saying, that's the process, the procedure. Ironically, what do you think the city council could do about this annexation?
Nothing.
Nothing. But they can't annex without you. So that's the process. That's what happened, and that's happened two or three times. That the city, and it's all been River Ridge property.
We can re-annex.
At 2 years. They're only 2 years after the disannexation. And now the River Ridge is deeded into the town of Utica. I guess that probably needs it.
So simultaneously in their de-annexation, they deed the property.
Yeah, the process started when River Ridge transferred this property to the town of Utica, 100 acres. And as a result of transferring the property, obviously the town of Utica is going to own property within the city of Jeffersonville. Started the process of de-annexing, so.
When did they transfer it?
I don't, and those would be that.
Right around the time all this transferred. At the same time we got the property looking at the apartments.
Did you say Utica's building a police station?
Well, that's their plan.
That's what it said. So, and also, so you all understand and know, I didn't know anything of, I mean, and that almost came out weirdly. I wasn't aware of any disannexations that were happening until actually I was contacted and asked, couldn't this happen? And I think it happened, and I just checked the website, which is a great resource, and saw that the Board of Public Works meetings were extremely timely filed, because they were there within a couple of days of the January 9th meeting, and probably there before I looked, which was about the 11th, so they were there. I looked at that resource and just read it and got the statute. So I do not know about any of the notices, I do not know anything about the hearing. All I know is this is a procedure that can happen.
Complete with helipad. Complete with helipad.
River Ridge Development Authority.
What? Are you joking?
Nope.
It was undeveloped land. So any tax with it collected was linked to River Ridge.
They have.
They have their own, yeah. Their own UDC, yeah.
We're not seeing any kind of loss
No.
physically.
No.
But the two questions that were asked, first of all, was River Ridge okay with this? And second, River Ridge wanted to make sure that if it was transferred to Utica, that it would not be developed anything against what River Ridge is doing. And obviously, with the end of the transfer, it says what the land is for.
all I know is I received it to sign it, and the attorney involved in the town of Utica came over and picked up the paperwork.
So the really interesting part of this, from the lawyer's standpoint, and Judge Adamson's here, he might rule on this. So the really interesting thing is, when you read the statute, it says in Title 17 is the disannexation petition, and says, an order under section 17 of this chapter may be appealed to the circuit court, superior court, or probate court for the county in which any part of the affected territory is located. If an appeal is brought, the matter is determined at the original hearing shall be tried de novo, and the circuit court, clerk, superior court, or probate court order may be appealed in the same manner as a civil action tried and appealed. It doesn't say what the time for appeal is. So like, well, you can appeal this if you're agreed, but we're not going to say what your time frame for the appeal is. It doesn't, so that was kind of an interesting twist. So. There you go.
Thank you. Do you have anything else? All right.
Glad to be here.
All right. I will move on. I don't see any department heads, so there was no public comment, so I'll move on to council comments. Councilperson White.
I just want to give a shout out to my fellow councilman, Scotty Matrix, for saving a nearly 40-year business in downtown Jefferson.
He's now, thank you for investing in Jeffersonville, sir. We appreciate you.
The barber shop once a week.
What street's it on?
Kentucky Avenue.
It's in District 1, don't you know?
District 1.
D1, DWD1.
Councilperson Young.
In the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. Day being yesterday, I thought it appropriate to cite a quote, a brief quote. He says that our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. And I feel like our discussion about addressing the drug epidemic that we have and the way that our justice system has handled these cases is pertinent and meaningful. And I applaud people like Judge Adams who are moving it forward, and hope that we continue thinking about prevention and education as a way to help address this issue at the source. That's it.
Councilperson Hawkins. Councilperson Owen.
I'm okay.
Councilperson Ellis.
All right.
Okay. I need to, a couple weeks ago, a week and a half or so ago, I met with Andrew DeCami and Dr. McCart with Purdue, and they're starting a workforce program that they want to engage the businesses in, with the city's engaged in getting a degree, but we have right now with the workforce, the businesses are what can they do, because they're having a turnover. They're having the issue with not passing the drug test, or they can't. They said they're actually looking at giving incentives that some of the business here that, if you get them there on time and pass a drug test. So I wanted to schedule, they said they were available to do a workshop in February, either at 6 o'clock, either before our February 4th or our February 19th. Remember, it's the 19th, it's a Tuesday, because that Monday is President's Day. Does any of those two dates work with the majority at 6 o'clock to have them come in and talk to full council about the program that their workforce they're wanting to start?
The 19th would be better for me.
About anybody else? The 19th look good? Okay.
Tuesday the 19th.
Tuesday, February 19th at 6 o'clock. Larry, if you would advertise for that. It's with Purdue. Okay.
Somehow I got elected as the president of the Downtown Merchants Association.
Well, congratulations.
My very first meeting.
Will you be at the council meeting?
Well, it depends on how long the merchants go, because
Yeah, I'll be here.
He's the president.
what time the meeting starts.
Congratulations.
If they start at 6, you might not make it right away.
Will you please advertise? It's a workshop with Purdue University. I'll send, yes, at 6 o'clock, February 19th.
I forgot about that. I should have gave you
And
a shout out for that.
as you all do know, what Bobby did when his invocation talked about the furlough. I was part of a program yesterday where it was hosted. We had it down at Preservation Station. And I'm bringing this up because if you have any of your constituents, because as you know, the Census Bureau is on furlough, there is help that's available. There is assistance that can be given to them. So if any of your constituents or even if your neighbors or anybody, you'd be surprised how many in your neighborhoods that work for the Census Bureau. I got great contacts and
I think township level also has programs for that as well.
The Jefferson Township Trustee's office.
Yeah.
yeah, they were there. They were in attendance. We had WIC, we had New Hope there, we had attorneys, we had went from insurance that was there, and I think Ron or Vicki, because I didn't know, you said that Cassie has a
Cassie
program
has a program,
for
LIHEAP.
because we had a lot that were there with disconnect notices, and they,
Yes, Cassie, yes. They can just contact Cassie, and they have that LIHEAP, it's called LIHEAP program.
so if you do have any, and I've got cards or way to get them in touch so you can help anybody that comes asking for assistance. So with that, I will call for an adjournment. Meeting is adjourned.